Hello boys and girls in Common Core Math 6, this is Mr. Giomini. Wanted to talk about a question, giving a model, an example of one of the questions that was highly missed on the Chapter 1 formative pretest. Now, I believe it was, I want to say it was the last question, first column, roughly about question 6 or 7, talking about the cumulative frequency table. I think one kid out of all 117 or 20 of us had it right. So let's take a look at one. I'm going to make an example. So the title here is, or my data is, Home Runs by Barry Bonds per year. And I'm focusing on the years of 1998 through 2007. Now, first thing I do is I have the data here. I've actually pre-constructed a box. And I've broke it up, as you can see, into 3 columns. Now, I actually may take this and slide these bars over just a little bit because I actually need more space at the first one than the last one. So let's take a look here. Now, first thing I like when I see data like this, I want to put it in order from least to greatest, which we've talked about. Obviously, if I look here, smallest number is 5. Okay, I'll cross that out. I then have 26, I believe is the next smallest, 28, 34, 37, so 34 and 37, let's cross those out so I don't use them again. 2 45s I see, 46, 49, and finally 73. Now what I want to do real quick here is count. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data up here in my data set. I also have 1, 2, 3, 4, I actually go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 pieces. Okay, good, so that matches up. Now when I'm making a cumulative frequency table, I kind of want to think of intervals that I can kind of chunk together here. Now my data is really widespread. There's a huge range between these, 5 and 73. That's a range of like 68. So that is quite large. So I'm going to kind of make what I call intervals over here. I'm going to title this intervals. I'm going to call it INT. I'm going to abbreviate that. Then I have frequency here. Frequency is a fancy word for how many times something happens. And then we have the cumulative frequency, which I'll call C frequency. That's just how many times. That's just how many times it happens all together. Like we kind of add on. So we're just adding together, and you'll see what I mean here in a second. So I'm going to break this up into some lines here for us. I always want to try to be neat when I'm doing this kind of stuff. So, all right. So there's kind of my titles, the labels, I should say, for my different categories. And I'm going to make a couple of these. If I don't use it, it'd be easy enough for me to erase it. So I'll kind of try to keep these all balanced. Notice it looks like just a table with rows and columns. Alright. Now I got to go back to the data. And that one's kind of small, so let's do this. Let's just take this out. There we go. Okay, so I have 5, and the next largest number is 26, and then we have 28, and then we have 34, and then we have 37. I might go by, I might start at 5, or I could start at 0 and go 0 to 20. Now, what I want to do next is I don't want to go 20 to 40, because where then would a 20 go? Would it be in between 0 and 20 or 20 and 40? So I'm going to go to the next number right after 20, which is 21. Now I add 40 to it, which goes to 21 to 41. I could also then go not 41 to 61, but I'm going to go 42 to 62. And then I don't want to go 62 again, because if I had 2 62s here, I wouldn't know where to put it, in this category or this interval or in the other one. So I'm going to go to the next number after 62, which is 63. To add another 20, that would give me, what is that, 83? Now I could stop right there, because I can see my largest number is 73. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to transfer this information here. So the interval would be 0 to 20, 21 to 41, 42 to 62, 63 through 83. Okay, I'm going to erase this here. Now you could have chose to go by 10. You could have chose your intervals to be, this is 0 to 20, so it's actually 21 pieces of data. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's 21 pieces of data that could possibly fit in this interval. And that means 21 pieces that can fit in there, 21 pieces of data can fit in here and in here. Now let's take a look at the data. How many times did he hit between 0 and 20 home runs? He only did that once. Now, he only hit 5 home runs a year. I'm going to guess, if I had to make an inference, I'm going to guess he was injured that year. And that's why I only hit 5. Now, we're going to say this, there's nothing here. So far, the cumulative frequency is just 1. Easy enough. Now, how many times did he hit between, I'm going to cross this out so I don't use it again. How many times did he hit 21 to 41? Well, that fits, that fits, that fits, and that fits. This does not fit because it hits 45. We stop at 41. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 instances, or 4 times maybe between 21 and 41. So that's 4. Now the cumulative frequency is how many times altogether we have add here. How many numbers have I added altogether? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the cumulative frequency now is 5. So what I kind of do is I just count how many times, how many pieces of data I've already have in all the data set that I've utilized so far. And that's the cumulative, how much altogether I've used. Let's go 42 to 62. Let me change colors here. 42, that'll work, that'll work, that'll work, that'll work. This won't work because it's larger than 62, so that is another 4 pieces of data. Now, cumulatively or altogether, I have used how many pieces of the data in all the data altogether? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that number here would be a 9. Because I've utilized 9 of the 10 pieces of data once I've come between this interval between 42 and 62. And then finally, 63 to 83, that's easy. I only have 1 piece of data. So I go here. Only 1 time did he hit between 63 and 83. And the cumulative frequency is not 1. We now utilize how many pieces of data? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so if you're doing this cumulative frequency table and you see your numbers besides the first interval matching up, you're doing something wrong. Now, if I want to talk about my measures of central tendency, measures of central tendency, where the middle of the data is, measures of central tendency. Now, you should be able to stop and say to yourself, okay, what are the measures of tendency? And you should have the 3 M's. The 3 M's. Mean, median, mode. I'm going to do the median and mode first because those are easier than doing the mean because I have to do some calculations for the mean. So let's take a look at the median. Numbers in the middle. So let's see here. 573, 2649, 28, 46, 34, 45. Oh, 45 and 37. There's 2 numbers in the middle. I can't have 2 medians. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add those 2 together. 45 plus 37 gives me 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, good. Even number. Perfect. Put a 0, 1, 10 up, one group of 10s. 4, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 82. Now, my median is not 82. Doesn't make sense. That's not a measure of central tendencies. 82 is not in the middle of this data. I take this 82 and divide it by 2. So half of 82 is 41. So the median for this set of data is 41. The mode, the number that appears most often. Ironic, it's 45. Okay. Now I go with the mean. I'm going to calculate the mean. Well, I have to add all these together. Well, I cheated and did that earlier. When I add it all together, it gives me 388. My mean is not 388. I now must divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 pieces of data. 388 divided by 10. Now I can do this easily, but I'm going to do it the long way here. 10 times what? I'm going to change color here real quick. 10 times what will give me 3? Nothing. 10 times what will give me close to 38? 3. 10 times 3 is 30. I'm going to subtract. That is 8. Bring down an 8. 10 times what gives me close to 88? I believe it's 8 because 10 times 8 is 80, so I'll put 80 here. Subtract. That's 8. There's nothing else to bring down. Oh, wait. You guys did a great job telling me. Put a decimal point here, Mr. Giomini. Transfer that decimal point up into the quotient, and now you can add a 0 here. And I'll drop that 0 down. 10 times what is 80? 10 times 8. So the mean is 38 and 8/10. Now I notice the mean and median here are pretty close. But when I look at this data, I notice two outliers. This number 5 is extremely low because most of the numbers are clustered right here. 26, 28, 34, 30. There's a cluster of numbers, and even here's a cluster of numbers. It's that 5, which is the lower extreme, and the 73, which is that upper extreme or upper outlier. So these outliers in this case kind of offset each other. They cancel each other out. So my mean and median are pretty close together. So either one really gives a nice representation of the data set because these two outliers, the lower outlier and the upper outlier, kind of cancel each other out. Hope this helps you with cumulative frequency tables. Also making some measures of central tendency again. I did not do the measure of spread, which would be the range, which would be 68. Okay, have a great one. Take care. Bye.